This last week, I learned something new about St. Patrick. He is the patron saint of the nation of Nigeria, of all places. Perhaps you knew that. I was excited to hear that, but also a little bummed out because I just learned it because I went to school, I went to seminary with a guy from Nigeria that I really liked, and had I known that the patron of his country was St. Patrick, we could have bonded a little bit over that and over a pint of Guinness. He was a religious brother, so we called him Brother, and his name was Martin, Brother Martin, and it was really incredible watching him transition from life in his native country to living in St. Louis, and sometimes it was rather comical as well. One day he came up to me and he called me brother too, even though that wasn't my title. He said, "Brother, do you have an extra pair of shoes that I might have?" And I said, "I do. Come to my room after dinner and you can take your pick." I'd never been asked that question before or since, but I thought I probably have an extra one for this guy. And he, since he was a religious brother, had taken a vow of poverty, so he didn't have much. So he comes to my room after dinner. I opened my closet and I said, "There they are, take your pick." And he looked down at them for a second. Then he looked up at me and he said, "Brother, these are too big." And I told him, "Why only wear one size?" And I hadn't thought about that, I guess. And then he looks around my room a little bit, and then he asks another question. He said, "Brother, is there anything else you want to give me?" And I said, "What about that computer?" And he said, "I'll take it." And he took it, and he mailed it back to his sister in Nigeria for her to have. And I always laugh about that story and Brother Martin. But that night, he taught me something important, or he helped me to understand what Jesus taught, which was, it is far more blessed to give than to receive. It is more blessed to give than to receive. And I think we see something very similar in the life of St. Patrick. You know, he wasn't always a saint. When he was 16 years old, he said that he knew not the living God. And this was not for lack of knowledge, because his father was a deacon and his grandfather was a priest. But it was that he didn't have a living relationship. Around the same time, he was captured in what is now England, his homeland, and taken to Ireland and forced into slavery. And for 6 years, he lived as a slave in Ireland, learning the Gaelic language and the culture of the people. And at the same time, he was cut off from his own people and from the sacraments of the church, surrounded by pagans. And it was there that he had a living encounter with the crucified and risen Jesus. And he began to pray. He said he prayed day and night. And at some point, he realized that he must escape. And so he made a daring escape and made his way home. And to make a long story short, he went to France, he became a priest, and then he became a bishop, and then he felt God calling him back to the land of his slavery to help those people who lived in darkness to see the light of Christ. And he went there, and he had a remarkable apostolate. What made his work so special was that it was marked by boldness and courage and determination. He was a man that combined deep human feeling with an intense love for God. We hear about his difficulties and defeats and how much those affected him and how much he cared about the people that he ministered to. But after 30 years, he had entirely converted the island of Ireland, which was very remarkable. And it's said that he had founded 700 churches, ordained 5,000 priests, and 370 bishops in those 30 years that he labored there. It truly was a golden page in the history of our church. And how did he do it? Well, he did it through a complete and sincere gift of himself. We hear in today's gospel, Jesus says that unless a grain of wheat dies, it remains alone. But if it falls to the earth and dies, it becomes fruitful. And that is what is written on our hearts, the law of the gift, that every single one of us, no matter who we are created to make a gift of ourselves. We are created to make a gift of ourselves. And this is what St. Patrick teaches us. And how do we do that? Well, we give ourselves first and foremost to God, from whom we come and to whom we return. We also give ourselves in our vocations, whether that's as a priest or a religious, or as a married person or a single person. And we give ourselves completely, entirely to others. And that's how we find fulfillment in our life. That's how we find the fulfillment of our desires and those good aspirations of our life. We make of ourselves a gift. And that's also how we should understand the other teaching of Jesus, where he said, whoever loves his life will lose it, and whoever hates his life in this world will save it. And if we could put that in simpler terms, if you love yourself more than you love God, then you will be lost. But if you love God more than you love yourself, then you will be saved. It's very simple. It's that law of the gift, that we are to make of ourselves a gift, first and foremost to God and to others, and to not focus so much on ourselves. St. Augustine said that all sin is a turning in on oneself. It's a turning in on oneself. And so, therefore, holiness means turning out from oneself and giving to others. And so, like St. Patrick, we should ask ourselves, how can we do this? And first, we should simply open our hearts and make the desire that we want to give of ourselves. And then God will give us the opportunity and the means, and he will bring that good work to fruition. And so if we give of ourselves, then we will be like the grain of wheat that falls to the earth and bears a harvest of 30, 60, or 100-fold. So the law of the gift, that we are to give of ourselves. This is what St. Patrick teaches us, and that we should take into our lives and see what God can make of us if we only place him first and desire wholeheartedly to serve others and to serve him.